What secret could ruin your life? When I was about 5 years old, my sister, 2 years old, and I were in the backyard in a kiddie pool. When my mom went inside, I attempted to drown my sister. After I saw her lifeless, I realized that it was a big mistake. Pulled her out of the pool and called for my mom. Luckily she knew CPR and she was life-flighted to the hospital. My mom thanked me for saving her, pulling her out of the pool. Next week was my birthday. The police, firefighters, paramedics came to my house to give me gifts and celebrate my birthday. To this day 20 years later, I still think about it. I remember the day so vividly. Not a soul knows the real truth. That until a week ago I was a heroin user. I'd lose my kid, my family, my job, everything. Finally just finished the worst of the detox. Here's to keeping on keeping on. I don't think I'll ever tell them. Even though I am currently clean and have no desire to go back. Is it hard to go through it completely alone? 15 years ago between jobs I took a short-term gig helping a large gay porn company, assisting them resolving some performance issues on their website. It was supposed to be only 2 weeks. That was 15 years ago. No one in my extended family knows that I work in gay porn, let alone know that I'm in charge of everything except video production. I was sexually assaulted by my parents' neighbors, a father and son. The son was in his teens, I was 8. They used to put me in this walk-in closet and have show time. I never realized what was happening until several years after we had moved from my grandmother's house in Phoenix to Houston. Fast forward 20 years goes by and I have a daughter of my own. She's 4 and we decided to visit grandma in good old Valley of the Sun. We get there and a few days pass and one day my daughter's outside with her older cousins playing. I step outside to check on her and I'm greeted with that same neighbor's son holding my daughter giving her raspberries while his dad is playing with the other's cousins. Something clicked. More like a twitch in my mind. Something tipped me just a nudge. But it started something. I walked outside, grabbed my daughter and corralled the kids and made my presence known. That tipping point sent me into an emotional spiral of brooding thoughts. I'm white collar. I make my money off of thinking. I'd never say this to real life human nor will I ever give the details of how I did it. But several months after our visit with grandma, my wife thought I had another work training when in fact I came back to Phoenix. I burned their home to the ground. Everything was lost except for the master bedroom and walk-in closet. P.S. A well-placed anonymous tip does amazing things to up someone's life. They both survived unfortunately. I swear to God I hoped I've done enough good in my life to earn at least one wish. That would be to meet those low-life maggot creepers in hell and be their eternal tormentor. I look at my daughter every day and know she gave me the strength I needed as an adult I didn't have as a child. My dad, probably, sexually abused me when I was a kid. I say probably because I don't actually remember it. But all the signs were there. I used to not want to clean, touch my genital area and once I had blood in my panties, my period started many years later. Just to name a few. Apparently he drugged me to make me sleep and then do whatever he did. The case went to court but they decided there wasn't enough proof. So he wasn't charged. My mom was granted full custody though. I don't really feel like it was my fault. But I definitely feel disgusting. I mean, it's about the most disgusting thing a person could do. I don't really know what the point of writing this was. But it feels a bit liberating to be able to say it. I hope anybody who's gone through similar things isn't doing too badly. I forged my high school transcripts to get into university. I can't even think about the consequences to my actions if anyone were to ever find out. I'm 3 weeks shy of graduating with a degree in biology. I own accounts on multiple sites dedicated to taking down child pornographers. If anyone knew who I was, I imagine there would be a lot of perverts wanting revenge, and I don't want to put anyone at risk. When I was 10, my cousin sexually molested me during a sleepover at my aunt's house. My aunt walked in on her molesting me and took me away from her. However, since that day it was never talked about within my family and everyone acts like that day never existed. A friend of mine I used to hang out with a lot, Chase, told me a bad secret during our sophomore year of high school. We were good friends and smoked a lot together, but we came from a bad neighborhood. Anyways, one day at school, I watch his back when he sells a gram of weed to this guy Terrence Bully Sr. Real asshole. Kinda chunky but played football the year before and was built. As we're walking away, Chase just keeps going on and on about how much of a prick that guy was. After school we both put our money together from our cells to buy another ounce. As we're smoking he tells me he needs to tell me something. He says that Terrence guy tried raping his sister at a park, but stopped after she started screaming, who at the time was in 8th grade. Chase tells me how Terrence wanted to buy some weed after school but didn't have enough for a gram. This was after his sister told him what happened, so he said he'd give it to him for free if he stole a few cans of Four Locos, which was really easy back in the day. After, Chase said he acted like he was really happy about it and smoked him out for free and then gave him a blunt to take home. He told me that when he rolled it earlier he laced it with heroin for Terrence and has been lacing all the weed he sold him with heroin he gets from his uncle, who knew what he was doing, and basically turned Terrence to a junkie. Told me he's been doing it every day for weeks and been charging him double since Terrence doesn't know anyone else to buy off of, that he's even been to his house and got to take some of his shoes, TV, Xbox, iPod, basically everything a teen would want in exchange for more, and also to pay off debts. We weren't some buff-ass kids or anything, but our families were heavily gang-affiliated and most people knew that. He then tells me he didn't sell him any weed earlier that day but gave him a bit of H. I asked him for free. He said, "Nah, I had the idiot steal me some jerseys from Foot Locker and I sold them for like $200 at the flea market and started laughing. I did my fair share of up throughout high school, but I felt really weird about that. I didn't say anything because I was a gang member at the time, so I didn't feel like I had a right to judge. I never told anyone. We grew apart after that. I moved away from my hometown a year later, but I hear that Terrence has been in and out of rehab, jail and struggling a lot. Pretty much homeless when he's out. This won't ruin me because I've already went no contact with my mom, but it still hurts and is a big secret I've not told anyone. When I was a kid, I had asthma pretty bad, so I'd be up all night, coughing constantly. My mom and I lived with her parents. We shared a room, so I slept in her bed often when I was a toddler. Mom would come home from work and lay down for bed, but I'd keep her awake with my coughing. Sometimes at night I'd be coughing and she would hug me so tight that I couldn't breathe. It would really distress me that I couldn't breathe, but I knew Mom loved me so much and I didn't want to tell her she was literally squeezing me to death because I was afraid of hurting her feelings. So I'd just tell her that I loved her so much, and she would cry pretty hard after that. Took me years after having my own kid and treating him gently to figure out that it's actually pretty difficult to squeeze a kid so hard that they couldn't breathe. Mom is bipolar, and has had other incidents of hurting people and abandoning those in her care that need medication and can't take care of themselves. So, I finally put it together and figured out. Mom would be so agitated with my asthma that she would try to stop me from coughing by squeezing me almost to death. And then she would cry out of guilt when I told her I loved her. On the outside, I am a happily married 30-something, about to buy a house, in sync with my wife on most things like religion, kids, that things will get better for us, etc. In reality, I am a deeply depressed, secret alcoholic, which I fear is already adversely affecting my health. But I can't stop. Don't believe in any higher power anymore and derive little or no pleasure or satisfaction from anything. Most of this started with a sudden and untimely death of my mom, and some other family drama that happened around the same time while I was in university. I powered my way through there because I was encouraged to by those around me, even though I wanted so badly to drop out. This is also about the time I started abusing alcohol. I barely drank at all before. My family is rather scattered now, living in different states. My wife and I are close, but I have been unable to find or make new, meaningful friends as an adult in the city I moved to for a job. I am so stressed. I feel pins and needles in my brain, head and tongue constantly, and drink heavily, 5 to 10 drinks per day most of the time, sometimes more. I can hold off if I am traveling or around family or in a situation where I can't drink at all. I don't even get really that drunk visibly anymore, which is why, I think, I hide it well from my wife. There is usually an empty vodka bottle hidden in my briefcase by the time she gets back from work, and I have usually poured my first glass of wine by then to mask that I have already been drinking. I get home from work earlier than she. She thinks I am as happy and fulfilled as she, and excited and ready to have kids and start a family, etc. In truth, I am just numb to this world. I try to love her, I think I do, and expend all of my energy keeping up the facade and affection for her, but apart from that I have zero energy or desire for anything. I used to be athletic, and still look decent, but my physical shape is fading fast. I don't have or enjoy any hobbies. I just wake up, go to work, drink when I can, and mark off the days as I get older and closer to eventually dying.